Welcome to the channel where the unexplainable meets the paranormal. Hi, I'm Cindy, and if you're a fan of scary stories with chilling twists and unexplainable mysteries, well, then you came to the right place. So don't forget to subscribe and don't forget to leave the lights on. This is a true scary story about a psychic. So this story is about my aunt, who we're gonna call Anne. So Anne lives in Iowa, and she is somebody who has a special gift. She can read people's future using a tarot cards. So one day she's visiting us all the way in California, and while she's there, she's doing readings for some of my family members. So she does a reading for my aunt, who we're gonna call Susie. So she's reading her future using those tarot cards, and while she's doing that, she gets a card, and the card is a death card. So my aunt doing the reading, she is freaking out because that's not something good. The death card obviously means death. So she redoes my aunt Susie's reading a few times, and the same card keeps appearing: death, death, death. So my aunt Anne doesn't want to do any more readings for the trip, and we're all scared because we're like, something might happen to my aunt Susie because the death card was in her future. Like, we were all really scared. But eventually, my Aunt Anne has to go back to Iowa. So she goes to Iowa, and when she gets home and she opens the door, she sees her husband is unalive in the house. While she was in California with us and doing the reading for my aunt, her husband back at home in Iowa had passed away. So while she was reading my Aunt Susie's future, she was actually reading her own future. That death card that she kept pulling out was actually meant for her. There was going to be death for her husband. So after that, she's never done a tarot reading again, and I don't blame her because this was such a scary experience. This is a scary story about a girl who stood on a grave. So one day there was a party that so happened to be close by to a cemetery, and there was boys and girls in the party, and they were chatting it up, and they were talking about how scary the cemetery was. And then one of the boys says, "Don't ever stand on a grave at midnight, because if you stand on a grave past midnight, something from under the grave will grab you and take you in." And one of the girls, who we're going to call Kate, said, "That's not true. That's a superstition." So then the boy says, "I'll give you $20 if you go tonight and you stand on a grave." And she says, "Okay, I'm up for that." So she decides to take his $20, and she said she's going to do it. And the boy gives her a sharp object, and he says, "When you get to the grave, I want you to get the sharp object and then put it on the ground. So once you complete that and you come back to the party, we'll all go and make sure you actually went to the grave by yourself and that you were there. This sharp object being on the grave is going to symbolize that you made it that far by yourself." So the girl says, "Okay, sure, I'll go do it." And she goes to the cemetery by herself. And while she's at the cemetery, she starts getting scared. She starts seeing shadow figures. She realizes how quiet it is. It's cold. So she is spooked out. But then she sees a gravestone that she likes. And she says that that's going to be the one where she's going to get the sharp object and then put it on the ground. So she goes to the grave and she does that. She bends on her knees, and she gets the sharp object and puts it on the ground. And she's terrified while she's doing this because, again, the cemetery at night is really creepy. So she does this, and then she's getting ready to leave, but then something is holding her back. Something does not want to let go to her. So she is paralyzed with fright. She is so scared, and she screams and she falls to the ground. So then everybody at the party is waiting for Kate to come back, but she never does. So eventually they go and investigate to see why she hasn't came back. So they go to the cemetery and they see Kate laying on a gravestone, and she's unconscious. She's just laying there, and they check and she's unalived. And they see that the sharp object that was supposed to be like a signal that she made it to the grave, well, she actually got that and then plunged it through her skirt by accident. So she kind of locked herself in place with that sharp object. She couldn't move anywhere. She pinned herself down with the sharp object, and when she couldn't walk away from the grave, she was so scared that she only passed away from fright. There was nothing grabbing her down. It was that sharp object.